Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Very cool to wake up in the morning this morning and see that we finally went over the 1K subscriber mark. I am very, very thankful for all the people who told a friend, helped out. I want to thank Trish for always telling Trish and Insightful One for always pushing people here, telling people about the channel. I want to thank Kresha as well. She's always told people about the channel. A bunch of other people too. A lot of my subscribers go around telling people about the channel. I wouldn't be even close to this number without their help. So it's not really a me thing, it's more a you thing because you're the ones who subscribed. So, in the words of the great poet Kendrick Lamar, it is be humble. And that's it. That's all I have to say. Um, yeah, that's it. But I hopefully this will not be the last milestone we hit. I'd like to obviously do more. So we'll get there. Like I've always said, we'll get there eventually. Whether it takes us a year or a month, I'm going to keep producing content for you. So I can't wait till we go to trial. I think that's going to help, and that'll be very interesting. I don't know how many people in this audience has ever seen an Australian trial before, so that I've never even seen it. So, I mean, I've seen it from the outside, but not from the actual, courthouse. And that's what we're going to do. Okay, let me get set up. How are you all? Good to see you. Yeah, I know. Hold on. Hold on. I went on a little early so I could talk to you all. Hold on, I'm setting up. Hold on. I'm gonna get the first story up. The thing I actually want to talk about first off, and then I'll do this, then I'll get the video on. Hey guys, hey, good to see you. Um, I want to talk about this. This is a subject that's been rolling around my head for a while, and with the advancement in technology, could we be looking at the extinction of cold cases? I mean, if I type right now into Google cold case and then go to news and then go to search, look at this. Arrest made, conviction, arrest made, closing this cold case. This dude was arrested for assaulting people in the 1990s. Not didn't even murder anyone, just assaulted a couple people and it was a cold case and now they found him. Widow mother, cold case, victims demand answers. Okay, that one we need to solve this one. Okay, but there's just every week there's just this one got solved and this one from 1940 and this one from 1972 and is the advancement of that genetic genealogy eventually going to wipe out the need for any cold cases? Othram said at one of their key mark addresses a couple of years ago that when they got invited into a state, they were able to wipe out their back catalog of cold cases in like half a year. They originally thought it was going to take like 2 years or something, and they were able to do it in a quarter of that time. So that technology is just going to get better and better, especially the genetic genealogy side. Are we going to have any true crime documentaries in 10 years' time? Is true crime still going to be a topic, or are we going to all have to turn into like breaking news type newscasters? Because in a couple of weeks, it's probably going to be solved and we're going to know who did it. I don't know. It's an interesting thought experiment. I want to hear your thoughts on it. It's a very powerful technology. It really is. It harnesses sort of like something that none of us can change, which is our lineages, which is, our family trees and our connections. The only way it sort of breaks it is sort of like children given up for adoption or, children had in certain ways where they're not fully either known or part of family trees, although it can still be done. It's just a bit more complicated. When is Erin Patterson's trial? So she's back in court in August, and I believe it'll go much faster from that date. So we'll be back in about a month, and then it's going to really pick up speed because she asked for a speedy trial, not a trial date far into the future. So I suspect by the end of 2024, we should know the outcome to Erin Patterson and her multitude of attempted murder, charges. We should know. Missing cases, that's interesting. That might be the one that we can't solve. People who are missing. Yeah, you have a good point there. A very good point. People who are missing, they're the hardest ones because there isn't you can't use genetic genealogy unless you find a human remains or something like that. People who are just not there, they're the hardest ones. Maybe that's gonna be the next, Everest for investigators to try and figure out a new pathway to helping solve those type of cases. They're very difficult though, because it means they could be anywhere in the world. They could be dead, they could be alive. Very, very hard. A cold case of a woman who was adopted was just solved. Is that the one from Florida? We're going to talk about that tonight, actually. But there's actually a whole bunch of them. There was one in Florida, one in Maryland, one in. Was there another one in Florida? There's been a couple like in the last, 24 hours. The one in Maryland's really interesting. It's from 1979, man convicted in 1979 cold case killing in Maryland. That was he's actually from DC. That was 8 hours ago. And then there's the Florida one which broke overnight. They did a press conference overnight. I think it was, yeah, I will show it to you. That was Sanford, Florida, I think. All right, shall we get going? Did I rattle on enough for you guys? We've got to rattle on a little bit for the YouTubey thing. Some of the not some of the not some of the I'm so very scared, Laura. Not some of the. Could we do a recap of the mushroom case at some point? Yeah, tomorrow night we're doing a 24-hour live stream with Web Sleuths on their channel. I'm going to be on for like a mini bunch of hours. I don't even know how many at this point, but it's somewhere between 3 and 8 hours. I don't know how many I'm doing right now, but somewhere between about 3 and 8 hours. And I'm doing a I'm doing a panel with Insightful One at some point. Me and her are going to talk about the Long Island serial killer. So we're doing a panel on that. I've got my Aussie friends, Lisa and her daughter, coming on in the evening Australian time. They're going to hang out with me for an hour or so, or a couple hours, whatever they want to do. It is a work night for them, so whatever they can do, that's fine. And then I have Reby. I don't know if Reby still wants to do it, but I know Reby wanted to come on and talk true crime with me at some point. I just don't know if she can do it, being that it's a Monday during the day. But we'll see. We've got a lot of things coming on tomorrow. It'll be a fun show for that 24-hour show. Then you've got everything Trisha's doing, all the guests that she's bringing on, famous people, and blah blah blah. It's going to be a crazy 24 hours. So we do that once a year to honor Tylee and JJ. So because the world's supposed to end, and every year we've done it has never ended. So we just keep doing it. Hey, thank you, Wendy. I really appreciate that. Congrats. Here's to the one next K. Thank you. I hope we get there. I really do. I think as we change some of the we are going to change this camera. It's sort of delayed because of last weekend. Uh, that'll change. I think everyone will like the new camera and the angle it's at. And then we're getting probably tomorrow before we do the live show on the 24-hour live show. Reeby's poster will finally be up, and I'm going to be doing that tomorrow, and that'll be up. And then we've got a few other changes happening, so it'll make the channel better for everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kathy. Hold on, let me check this. Let me jump here. Kathy says, "Congratulations on reaching 1K. I knew you could do it. Thank you for being one of the greatest supporters of this channel. I really appreciate everything you've done since I um, was on Web Sleuths, really. Your unwavering support has been instrumental to this channel. It really has. And thank you for all the stories you sent me over the last year. It's very kind of you. And thank you for the donation. Lisa and her daughter were fun. Well, they're coming back tomorrow. So get ready to, I don't know what we're talking about. Actually, I have to ring her tonight. She's coming on tomorrow with her daughter. So you guys can get some more Lisa and Sean tomorrow. Oh, you're going to be helping with it? Okay. Awesome. Tina says, two of my friends were murdered in the 70s and 80s. No real hope of getting solved. Um, you'll have to email me about who they are, and then we can have a look into it for you. Blanket, hello. Okay, all right, hello. Hello. Hey, I'll say hello to everyone. Sienna, how are you, my sweet friend? Marilyn Landis is here. Laura G, retired RN. Marlene Clausen made it. Hey, Marlene. My friend Tina's here. Wendy's here. Kathy is. Rachel as well. Who else do we have this late at night? DJ made it. Diane's here. Angela. I'm just trying to see if I missed anyone. Mr. Shad Hunter is here. Mr. Floating Head slash Floating Frog is here. Who else did we miss? Is Mr. Dan Yee here? He was here earlier. Hey, Lindy. You just made Diamond Heart. Hey, guys, how are you? Breakaway, hey, buddy. Yeah, we made it. All right, let's get going. I think we've prattled on enough for the night. Let's go here. I'm going to play the little video for you, and then we'll talk about it. And DJ also sent this to me, but luckily enough, I did see it when we were covering that hostage with the baby last night. They were talking about this as well, but we just didn't get to it on the late show. But here we go.
Mark charged with homicide, willful killing, murder.
73-year-old Gary Durant's now accused of killing longtime girlfriend Sherry Holtz in December 1999. She was 50 then.
Her neck was cut. She suffered from blood, force trauma, strangulation, and she was sexually battered.
Why, nearly a quarter century from crime to arrest? Blood on a knife found near her body in 1999 had an inconclusive DNA result then. Science has since improved.
They were able to identify that the blood that was found on the knife there belonged to Sherry Holtz, and that there was additional DNA that belonged to a longtime boyfriend by the name of Gary Durant.
Holtz's body was found by someone picking up cans in a wooded area behind a business on the west side of 1792, where the 417 crosses now. Durant and Holtz had fought at the home they shared. He had thrown her out. It wasn't the first domestic issue for them.
There were a number of domestic violence incidents that Sanford Police Department had responded to involving Sherry and Gary Durant.
Durant said he was not with Holtz the night that she was killed, but investigators point out
He made statements indicating that he had seen Sherry's body and assisted in the crime scene with Sherry's body. However, at the time he said that, it was prior to Sanford Police Department having even been notified and discovered her body at that point.
Saying they now have an admission from Durant's. Sanford's chief added his thoughts to the victim's family.
That this brings some peace to the family, knowing that an individual who was a longtime boyfriend will spend the rest of his natural life in jail.
In Sanford, Dave McDaniel, West 2 News.
It's very interesting. I wonder how many cases from sort of when the science was very early on, it wasn't as fine as it is today. Like now it's much more refined, and they're able to so if there's an issue, they may be able to solve it now, or the technology is just much better in looking for certain matches. It's very interesting. I wonder how many of those cases need to have another look at. But it's where does that funding come from, and how many can they work through at the same time? So maybe a bit of a process, but this one seemed like this guy got away with it for far too long, and he is just lucky that the technology just didn't pick him up back in the day. So it says here, police in Florida arrested a man Thursday who they say is responsible for the 1999 killing of a woman, closing the homicide case nearly 25 years after it occurred. It says Sherry Holtz was found dead in a wooded area of Sanford, Florida on December 4th, 1999. How sad. She never saw the millennium. She was like 3 weeks from the millennium, and she didn't get to see the turn of the, millennium. Very sad. It says Sanford Police Department officers at the Friday news conference. A person walking through the woods collecting cans found her body. She was 50 years old when she died. When her body was discovered, authorities found her throat was cut and evidence she had suffered blunt force trauma, strangulation, and sexual battery. Gillett said she was found with her clothes pulled off, exposing most of her body. Those type of murders or SA type incidents really upset me because it's almost like, uh, let me treat my victim like it's trash or a sexual object. Here, I got what I wanted. Now, let me just throw this trash away and keep her uncovered for humiliation. So when someone finds her, they get to see all her lady parts and stuff like that. It's humiliation in death, and it's part of their sick and twisted game that they play, being a murderer. It's I've seen it in a bunch of, especially male on female crime. Don't see it much on female on male crime, although it has happened. But really disgusting when they do that to ladies. Well, I think if one of the things I learned from again Othram is one of the things that they talked about when original police departments sent DNA to a lab, right? They're like a vial full of blood or, a vial full of any bodily fluid you can think of. You know what I mean? Like someone spit in a tube or, the other thing in a tube. They can just take like a speck of something and they're like, yeah, let's use our amplification technology and we'll get it. Like they are so they just move the needle so far. It's hard to explain, but apparently originally back in the day, if they had just like a tiny bit of something, they'd send it to the lab and the lab would just send back a note saying, yeah, we can't work with this. It's way too small. Our machines don't sort of know what to do with it. And that's where Othram came along and a couple of other companies to use this new technology of using much smaller samples, but then amplifying, what they have. Really cool and changed the face of investigative science. It really did. Now there's what was the one they did a couple of years ago? They did one a couple of years ago that no one else was able to work on. It was that girl that was found in a truck. They found a woman who had died in a truck. I think it was a truck crash and it caught on fire. And they knew who the truck driver was, but they had no idea who the girl was. And her body just her remains just stayed there for years. They had no idea who she was, no ID. The fire was so intense, it burnt everything. And Othram was able to get a DNA match from her remains, work back through her family tree, and eventually identify her and able to give her remains back to her family. That's one of the cases that stuck with me for years. Yes, I will apply and do the memberships as soon as we're done after this show. It can take a couple of days for YouTube to approve it. It's another approval process, but I'm hoping by the time we come back on Tuesday, it'll be up and done. The two young girls that were staged after their death. There's been a couple of those. Was it Utah? Two young girls that were staged after. You might have to get me a name. I do know it sounds very familiar. Diane says, I watched the Fox on Fidel Lopez that you talked about last night. Oh my God. I never want to hear. No. I watched the information on that one time and I will never watch it again. That is the most brutal way I have ever heard of a female being killed. Ever. That is no. I don't want to I don't want to do it. No. It is disgusting. Oh, Delphi. Delphi? Yeah, okay. No, it's Indiana, right? Delphi, Indiana? Yeah, Delphi. Yeah. Liberty, yeah. Now I know who you're talking about, yeah. I was like, that sounds so familiar. Yeah, of course. It's Delphi. Yeah, so very interesting that these guys are starting to be picked up too. But it says here there was no other way to describe her homicide as brutal, adding that Holtz was found on her back on a concrete slab, almost treating her like cattle. Yeah, get her on the concrete slab and let's cut her up. It says a bloody lock blade knife was found in the area around her body and was sent for testing in 2000. Results indicated the blood on the knife belonged to a human, but the samples were so small they were unable to perform DNA testing at the time. There you go. It's that change in technology now where they don't need an entire, like an entire scientific tube full of a sample of blood, urine, whatever. They can use these microscopic type of flecks of blood or, the tip of a knife or whatever, and they can actually get the DNA from it now. Interesting that the sexual assault kit was negative for DNA. Interesting since they said she was sexually assaulted. I mean, I know that doesn't mean it has to be intercourse, but interesting. The evidence was preserved and the case was reopened in May of last year when DNA evidence was resubmitted to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for further testing. Last month, the blood on the knife was determined to be Holt's, and additional DNA found on the knife belonged to a longtime boyfriend of hers. Police identified the boyfriend as Gary Durrance. He was arrested Thursday in Volusia County and booked into the Seminole County Jail on a charge of second-degree homicide. Well done to police, man. Well done for not giving up. It's these cases that, to me, give hope into the community and to other families, right? There's a lot of families out there that believe, oh, the police don't care. They don't care about my loved one. They'll never do any work on their case. And then eventually they get something they can work with and they open it back up, or it goes under review and then they find something and they can work with it after not looking at it for a decade. It's not right. We all like to think it should be done quicker, but at least they eventually get to it. Let me see if I can find the actual press conference for this. I just want to watch a couple of minutes of it. Sherry Holtz. Okay. Don't know if it's going to show it to me, but we can go to our friends at WESH TV. No, that's the same one. Is it Seminole County? Sanford, Seminole County. Hold on, what's the arresting agency? Oh, Sanford Police Department. Let's see if they've got anything on their Facebook. Let's see if they've got a press conference for us. Aha, they do. Dun, dun, dun.
I want to say that this is well, just to give you an overview of what we're here to discuss this morning. We're going to review a homicide case from 1999 where the Sanford Police Department responded to a homicide in the wooded area in the 2800 block of South Orlando. The victim of this crime, this homicide, was Sherry Holtz, who's pictured to my left. A little bit of the details is that her neck was cut. She suffered from blood, force trauma, strangulation, and she was sexually battered. Testing on the knife that was found in the location there was sent for testing in 2000. There was a blood stain on the knife. But as we know, back in 2000, in the early 1990s, DNA, looking for DNA wasn't as prolific as it is today. One of the things that we have had the opportunity to look at over the past 20 plus years is that how DNA has helped us throughout the country resolve crimes. In May of last year, investigators resubmitted the information to the Florida Department of Enforcement, FDLE. June of this year, received a hit indicating that they were able to identify that the blood that was found on the knife there belonged to Sherry Holtz, that there was additional DNA that belonged to a longtime boyfriend by the name of Gary Durant. Based on witness statements and physical evidence, an arrest warrant was issued on July 18th. And Mr. Durant was arrested in Volusia County with the assistance of the Volusia County Sheriff's Office. He is presently in Seminole County Jail today. To give you more detail into the circumstances behind this case, I'm going to have our public information officer, Bianca Gillette, come up, and she will walk you through the information related to this case.
All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you guys for coming out. Again, Bianca Gillette, Public Information Officer for Sanford Police Department. So this case, we received a call in December 4th of 1999 regarding a body that was located in the wooded area behind the AMCO transmission at 2890 South Orlando Drive. The body was discovered by a person that was walking through the woods collecting cans. That person immediately went to the business, the AMCO, spoke to employees, they notified us, and that's when our investigation began. All right, so our victim was Sherry Holtz, Sherry Holtz. She was 50 years old at the time of her death. She had been known to live between a house on Crow's Bluff Lane and in that wooded area and other wooded areas throughout the city in different times, but she was in the city of Sanford as a resident for a number of years prior to the homicide. The investigation. There's no other way to describe it but a brutal homicide. Okay. She was found laying on her back on a concrete slab, approximately 20 feet into the wood line. Her clothing was pulled off, exposing most of her body. Her throat was cut. That was determined to be the primary cause of death. However, there was evidence of strangulation and blunt force trauma. Both of those were just as significant that could have resulted in her death.
So someone not only beat the crap out of her, they also tried to strangulate her as well and then cut her. That's like, it sounds like overkill. And it's interesting that no one made the connection to an ex-boyfriend earlier. It's a very emotive crime to have to go that far. If it was sort of like a random encounter with someone, you would think she might have been stabbed a couple of times or strangled and maybe, had a couple of bruises or something from an SA. But to have these three different angles all in the one crime is very odd. Very strange. Anyway, let's listen to the rest. This is really interesting. I didn't think it had this much detail.
In addition, she had numerous lacerations on her upper body, and there was evidence of some type of sexual trauma or battery that had occurred. A sexual assault kit was performed at the time. It was negative for any DNA evidence found during that processing of that kit. There was also a lock blade knife located near the body.
I also want to show you this photo too. A lot of people are like, don't worry about that. That's just like a small pen knife or like a little pocket knife or whatever. It helped murder this woman. And that's not a very big knife. I have one here somewhere on my desk. I mean, it shows you the weapon doesn't need to be like a samurai sword to kill someone. It can be that small of a knife to do a lot of damage to someone, especially in soft tissue areas like somewhere they can puncture and get to like a giant artery or something like that. You don't need very much. Very interesting.
There's human blood present on that knife. It was sent away for testing at the time, and actually in 2000. And the test indicated that there was human blood. However, the samples were so small at the time, they were not sufficient in size for testing. So at that point, investigation, the crime scene investigators preserved that evidence. We continued to preserve it. and that has helped us arrive at where we are today. So as the investigation continues, we discover that Sherry had been living at that home on Crows Bluff Lane, along with her longtime boyfriend, Gary Durant, and 3 other roommates. At the time, interviews with those individuals, we were able to determine, and Gary Durant, that there was an argument between Gary Durant and Sherry. And on the 2nd of December, so a day prior to the homicide, he essentially kicked her out of that residence. Okay. And when those type of things would happen in the past, indications were that she would go and stay in the wooded areas when something like that would occur. She was last seen on December 3rd, 1999 at a bar called Uncle Nick's Bar, located at 2605 Park Drive. It's been lies and alibis after that's changed hands a couple of times, but back then it was Uncle Nick's Bar. Witness statement said that she left anywhere between 7:30 p.m. and 11 p.m. Okay, so that window, we were able at the time to narrow it any smaller than that.
Did they say the bar is now called Lies and Alibis? What a fit for purpose name that it is a crucial clue in a 1999 murder, and it is now called Lies and Alibis, and she happened to visit that establishment. Oh my lord. Talk about just weird things that happen in true crime.
Statements given indicating that she could have possibly left that bar that night with 2 individuals that were patrons of the bar, regulars of the bar. We had multiple statements, but nothing, investigators weren't able to corroborate any of those statements with physical evidence at the time or confirm those statements. However, those 2 individuals obviously remain persons of interest in the case. If you can see on the map from the bar, Uncle Nick's Bar, to the wooded location where she was found, it's about 0.6 of a mile, okay, about half a mile, where we assume she would have walked from one to the other. Okay. We also, based on the investigation, we were aware that between 1996 and 1999, there were a number of domestic violence incidents that Sanford Police Department had responded to involving Sherry and Gary Durant. Okay, so that was kind of a history in their relationship. Roommates had stated that night that Gary Durant was in the house on Crow's Bluff the night of the homicide. However, they couldn't put him there for the whole night. Okay. However, some of the indications were that he left late on the 3rd or early on the 4th at some point and returned between 2:30 a.m. and 7 a.m. on the 4th. So we've got gaps in that alibi.
It definitely sounds like there's at least a few unreliable witnesses. They, like she said, we have holes in like our, timeline. Yeah, it sounds like either people were either covering for him or impartial to either one, and they were just like, I don't effing care. Like maybe he was here, maybe he wasn't. I might have saw him at 10:30. I didn't. Very interesting that it took 25 years to narrow it down to the boyfriend. It is odd, and I think the saddest part of this is that after the domestic that she was a part of, so obviously a victim in this domestic situation. I don't know if she was a perpetrator in the DV violence or he was or whatever it was. Either way, she was the one who left the home. He kicked her out, and then she went and lived in the woods. She went to the woods like to live as a homeless person, and that's where she was ended up being murdered. Doesn't that just seem extremely sad to you? That her final moments on this earth were her already probably feeling very insecure about being out without, a roof over her head. And then this boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or whatever tracks her down and brutally assaults her, tries to strangle her, and then, uses the knife on her. her final few hours on this earth must have been just one of I don't even know, uh, just not feeling safe at all, and then that escalated into her murder. Uh, that poor woman, for real. Like, it's reasons why we need support services, and I bet you since 1999, I'm hoping they've got better, and that maybe today there'd be somewhere for her to go, that she could at least be behind a locked door. If she had been in a shelter, maybe he would never have been able to get to her. Maybe they would never have crossed paths that night. Maybe. Maybe, yeah.
Had told investigators that he had not seen Sherry since the first. In 2023, one of our major crimes investigators, investigator Justine Hooper, and one of our crime scene techs, Catherine Lopez, they reopened the case. We're looking at it, and they resubmitted evidence in May of 2023, the DNA evidence that was on the knife and the sexual kit. They resubmitted them. In June of this year, in 2024, we received the results back. They tested positive and confirmed a positive match for DNA blood on the blade of Sherry. And in those other areas on the knife where there was the insufficient samples to test back in 1999, 2000, that came back for a positive match from Gary Durant. In addition, it eliminated the two other persons of interest that were in the case in 1999. So it's excluded them as suspects at that point. Investigators were able to make contact and re-interview the witnesses that were involved in the case back in 1999. Some of them were deceased, but they were able to interview a number of them that were still alive. And one significant piece of information that they gained during those interviews is that at the time of the homicide, when Durant returned to the home, he made statements indicating that he had seen Sherry's body and assisted in the crime scene with Sherry's body. However, at the time he said that, it was prior to Sanford Police Department having even been notified and discovered her body.
You know how they often put out appeals for information in cold cases, and especially in Australia, they will say there's a $1 million reward for information. And you'll hear the cop talk about, oh, over the last 25, 30 years, maybe people are no longer friends. Maybe people are no longer protecting that person. Maybe that person has passed away and they don't feel the fear they did back then to tell the truth. This is almost one of those situations because that information, had it come out a lot earlier, maybe this wouldn't be a 25-year-old cold case. The fact he came back and told people about the crime scene or whatever, like that, they weren't even notified about a body being there. So that is very but that shows you that, maybe some of these cold case initiatives with the big rewards to get people to talk, maybe they do have some merit to them. I know, right? The fact that she felt the only place she had to go was the woods on the side of the road is extremely sad. It's extremely sad. She didn't have a friend's house she could go to or a girlfriend's home or something. Like, she felt the best place for her and the safest place for her, or like the only place she had, was to go into the woods where she was found later on. That is very sad.
Putting himself at the scene. All right, so on the 17th, July 17th, the arrest warrant was issued for Gary Durant. Yesterday, July 18th, he was located in Orange City, in Volusia County, in a wooded area off of Veterans Memorial Parkway. He was taken into custody with the assistance of Volusia County Sheriff's Office and two of their narcotics task forces. And he was charged with second-degree homicide. So that's kind of the large overview. Do I have before I turn it back over to Chief.
Well, I do have this question. So you mentioned two persons of interest. They're now eliminated.
Correct.
You believe this is the sole responsibility of the person who's now sitting in the Seminole County?
Correct. Those two persons of interest back then, there was nothing really to corroborate those statements. It was, bar patrons, I think, maybe nothing substantial. However, the DNA excludes them as suspects.
Does she have any surviving family that you've been able to notify, and what was their reaction?
She does have an adult son that is out of state, and we're still working to get in touch with him.
What caused this department to open the case? Was it just a routine matter?
I mean, nothing's routine in law enforcement, but, our homicide investigators are dedicated to solving current cases, and these cases that sit on our shelves are something that they pull out and look through from time to time to see if.
Did anyone notice that just then when they asked about why now? Why did you look at this particular case now? She got a little funny. Did anyone notice that in the audio? She sort of like started getting she's spoken very well throughout the whole thing. And then she sort of started stumbling over her words and sort of, getting very nervous. I don't know what that was about, but maybe there's another reason there that they don't want to reveal right now. Is the guy very ill? Did they have some sort of intel that he was going to pass away soon or something? Or I don't know. That was a little odd. But this is probably one of the best cold case review videos from a police department that I've seen in a while. The audio was decent. It wasn't super hollow and super quiet, although it was a little low. They had a lot of information and they spliced into it a lot of other media, like different photos or different maps, or even the arrest video at the end. And it's one of the best ones I've seen. So well done to Sanford Police Department's IT department, or whoever put this video together. They did a great job. Probably the best one I've seen. Hey, Lux. Shark Week. Dun dun dun. Tour de France and Shark Week. What a combination, Lux. But that's okay. You can have all the breaks you want. Maybe, Rachel says, maybe someone came forward and they don't want to say, yeah, because that was very odd. She got very nervous and started like not knowing what to say and started like sort of gulping, and just picked up on the change in body language. It was here, I can play it again if you guys want.
Get in touch with him.
What caused this department to open the case? Was it just a routine matter?
I mean, nothing's routine in law enforcement, but, our homicide investigators are dedicated to solving current cases, and these cases that sit on our shelves are something that they pull out and look through from time to time to see if.
Right there. She seemed a bit nervous, or just, I don't know, very odd. Yeah, she did. Like, that's what I mean. That's why I noticed that during that question, she stumbled over it, because through the rest of it, she did a great job. She did a very good job. Very clear, very concise in how she described it. I don't know. Maybe she just wasn't expecting the question. Summer Olympics start next week. Are we going to do Olympic live shows? Do you guys want to do that? I love the Olympics. What do we like? I don't know if they're doing it in this one. That's the Winter Olympics. We like the ice skating. We like the gymnasts. What else do we like? We want to see Simone Biles win another gold medal after being robbed of the chance to see her at the Olympics a couple of years ago. So I hope that she doesn't get those twisties again and get ill. I don't want her to see that to her. Angela says maybe having to think on her feet. Could be. I don't want to, be mean to her or anything. I just noticed it when they asked the question. July 26th summer is better, in my opinion. Okay. The Summer Olympics? All right. 24th. Never trust Marilyn? Yeah, never trust Marilyn Landis. Never trust her for information. It's all right. Maybe she's in a different time zone breakaway. Maybe she lives in Guam. Maybe it is the 24th there. You don't know. Okay, that was very interesting. I really actually enjoyed that. A lot of times when I show you something, I've already watched it about 10 times. But that one I hadn't, and that one was very interesting to me too. Yeah, she got married to a longtime boyfriend, right? If you haven't watched there's a movie based on her life that she was involved with when she, I think she either produced it or co-wrote it, something like that. It's very, very good. You should watch it. It was a good movie. Ah, well, you sort out the dates. I live in a different country. It'll be the day before here, so the Paralympics? Yeah, the Paralympics were down here not long ago. They had, the Commonwealth Paralympic team or whatever. I like seeing their stories of determination and, not letting their injuries or whatever get them, think they can't do anything, and they sometimes are faster than normal people, and they do these crazy things and play basketball and do racing, and it's great to watch, it is. Although I feel a little bad, I almost feel like it's, like, mean to watch them. It's almost like we're pitting disabled people or differently abled people against each other, and it's almost like some sort of mean sport where if people bet money on it, it probably should be illegal. 'Cause, like, it's like, it's mean, but, I mean, it depends how you look at it. You can look at it as them triumphing over their, uh, you know, circumstances as well. Okay. Alright. We have a Amber Alert that I wanna talk about, but I just wanna check if she was found or not. Alright, let's pause that. I just wanna find her name is Alison Cho or Chow? Okay, yeah, she's still missing. Okay, cool. No, not cool. Ping, what are you talking about? I mean, I would like to have seen if she was found. That would have been better. Cool. Yeah, man, missing child? Awesome. Good work, Ping. Alright, let's watch this little video and then we'll get you the information.
It sounds crazy, but we don't have a play by play for this kind of stuff, right? What do you do as a parent? You're making flyers, you're contacting the news. We were out driving around to anywhere there was open gas stations, posting up flyers. We reached out to the community. My younger sister took care of all the social media, hitting up all the influencers, please post, help me look for my niece. My older sister pulled out all of her connections at work, making announcements, and the community just all banded together. I mean, we had one person from McDonald's who just canceled his shift. It was at 1 a.m. I was knocking on the door, please let me post this up at your facility. And he did. And then he's like, I got to take off work. This is hitting home. This is in our community. And he drove around at 1 a.m. looking for her with me. And so I just have to really thank the community. My sister put together this search organization. There must have been more than 100 people that came, and they all brought their own flyers or tape to help out, because we didn't know how many people would come. And they went to all these different cities to post, and it's just been amazing. When they say that things are really bad, to look for the helpers, and the community has really come together to help me look for my little girl.
So the information I have here says she's been missing since Tuesday? That is a long period of time. It says she was last seen on Tuesday on surveillance footage riding her GT mountain bike from her father's house in Monterey Park, California, to her aunt's in San Gabriel around 5:32 p.m., according to ABC7. The journey was only 4 miles, but the young girl never arrived. It's freaking it's Saturday, right? That's like 5 days ago. She's been missing for 5 days in California? What? This is terrible. Here's a photo of her. There's a video up here of her riding her bike. I guess this is from her dad's place. Let's have a look. Sorry, I was looking up something. Apparently, there's a website that they've made up for her. Help us find Allison. Here. So they said they need volunteers in the San Gabriel, is that SGV area? Let us know if you have seen Allison. They have like a form here. You can add like a screenshot from video if you've got video or CCTV. Here's some photos of her. She's female Asian ethnicity, and she's 5'2", approximately, what is that, 96 pounds? 96 pounds. She's got black hair, brown eyes. She was last seen July 16th, 2024 at approximately 5:32 p.m. Location 200 North Yanez Avenue, Monterey Park, California. Far out. That's a long time for a little girl to be gone. I'm just trying to see if there's any more better information I can give to you. So someone asked, why hasn't there been an Amber Alert for her? There's no vehicle information. You need to have a vehicle, I'm pretty sure, with a license plate that they can put into the Amber Alert. They might be able to trigger a different alert, something like a silver alert, or there's might be another type of alert they can use, but the Amber Alert has to be an abduction via car, right? And it has to have a license plate or a car description that they can give out via the Amber Alert. At least I think that's right. San Gabriel Valley. Thanks. Yeah, they're looking for volunteers. I know we have people in California. I don't know how close it is to you. If you want to help, contact her mom, I'm guessing, or her family at that website. The website is, it's just her name, Allison Chow or Cho at .com. I can put it in the chat. So if you're in the area and you want to help them do some searching for her, you got a bit of time tomorrow on a Sunday and you can help. Go to the website and contact them. They need searchers. They need volunteers. So if you can do that, that would be really, really nice of you. Let me see up here. Someone said the McDonald's employee inserting themselves into the search at 1 a.m. in the morning, isn't that suspect? Yeah, it's a little odd. But I mean, hey, maybe it's just a very helpful person that is worried about a child, could be. I don't want to drag anyone just because they want to help. So that's a misconception. Silver alerts can be used for anyone who is in danger, but normally there has to be a medical condition associated as well. Like, say, sometimes police can get around it by saying they take medication daily. So, or if they don't take their medication, they may get sick. Sometimes police game the system a little bit by using that, by saying they have to take their medication every day, otherwise they'll get ill. And they use that as a way of getting onto the silver alert. So no, it depends on the state. Each state has a different requirement for silver alert. Some of them are for endangered children and elderly. Some of them are only for elderly. So it depends. But it can't be an Amber Alert because there's no vehicle right now. Maybe there is a vehicle, but they think she's a possible runaway with no history of runaway. That's clever. I think any child missing is probably bad news, right? Doesn't matter if they are a runaway or whatever. Let's see if I can find anything else about her. Any updates in the last day? Just a couple of cameras have captured her. There was a camera about 20 minutes later caught her on 6th Street heading towards Main Street. Apparently someone was able to get a screenshot. I don't know who this is. It's her parents. Help find Allison on, I don't know what service this is, but TikTok, Instagram. Hold on, I'll put it on the screen for you. Yeah. So they caught her about 20 minutes after leaving her dad's house. On this screenshot, you can see her down the end of the road, heading towards a street called Main Street from 6th Street. So there is a verified sighting, they think, of her about 20 minutes later, but after that, nothing, which is very concerning. Let me just double check the San Gabriel. Okay. Let me just check the San Gabriel Police Department. Do they have anything? Very odd that it's not on the San Gabriel Police Department website. That is concerning. San Gabriel PD. Let's try this one. Nope. Nope. What about SGV City Watch? Let's see here. Something about a fire in the area. Oh, yes, there is. 16 hours ago, SGV City Watch released a City of Monterey Park letter. Reposted from the City of Monterey Park. Okay. Let me upload this for you. They released a press release here. It says, at approximately July 16, 2024 at 9:36 p.m., the Monterey Park Police Department began a missing person investigation into the whereabouts of 15-year-old Allison. Family members describe her as an Asian female, approximately 5'2", weighing 96 pounds, with black hair, brown eyes. She was last seen leaving her residence on July 16th at 5:32 p.m. Okay, that screenshot is from 5:44 p.m., so about 13 minutes later, they caught her on a different camera, but after then, no further sightings. She left the residence wearing a purple t-shirt, black shorts, black shoes, or dark shoes. She was riding a mountain bike carrying a black backpack. She was en route to a family member's residence in the city of San Gabriel, Calif. Allison reportedly never arrived at the residence. Very, very awful to be missing that long. She looks younger than 15. Often some Asian females can look younger than their age depicts. Is there people saying that she could be with a friend? I hope the parents and the police are hammering down on all her known associates and trying to get information if that is true. Interesting, right? Everyone's got a bloody Ring doorbell in California. You'd think that they'd be able to capture her all the way wherever she went, because everyone's got one of those cameras. I mean, not everyone, but there's a lot of them. If you ever go on, is it neighborhood app or whatever it's called, where you can talk to people in your neighborhood and post warnings and stuff like that? Like every bloody person has a camera. Let's see. ABC 7, 5 hours ago.
Very
It's the same article we read. Let's go back to the other one. Let me grab this other article for you. Let's have another look. 3 hours ago from the Los Angeles Times. Okay. The LA Times is, look, they got missing person flyers up in the neighborhood. They're saying police are searching for a 15-year-old Monterey Park girl who disappeared Tuesday after leaving her home on a bicycle. A search was initiated within hours, according to police. So police were out there searching for her very quickly. They're saying there are signs around, like, this type of thing on the light pole. And the last confirmed sighting of Allison was on Main Street soon after she left home on Tuesday. That's the screenshot I showed you. That is just near Main Street, the crossroad. She's coming down 6, apparently. So that's all I can tell you guys. I hope they find her. And if you can volunteer and you live in the area and have some time tomorrow to help her family, I think that would be lovely of you. Go to that website. Where did I post it? I did post it. Here. Go to that website and register your interest to help search for her in the local area. Sure, they'll have different searches on different days, so hopefully she's found very soon. No, not good. I'm sure the police are trying to round up video on different routes she could have taken, and I'm sure they're internally doing that. Maybe it's just not public right now. Maybe we just don't, like I said, we just don't know. Maybe it is, maybe the police know, but maybe we don't know. All right, one more. You guys want to do one more for the night? One more ping, one more. All right, encore. All right, let's do one more. I'll bring you a cold case from Australia. Cold case from, no, let's do the one from Maryland. Come on, NBC Universal.
First-degree murder and rape in the killing of a Maryland woman. This is a case that had gone unsolved for decades. 28-year-old Vicki Lynn Belk was found shot to death on the side of the road in Charles County nearly 44 years ago. DNA evidence linked Andre Taylor to her murder. He was 18 at the time. He is now 63. After a 9-day trial, it only took 2 hours for that jury to deliver the guilty verdict. Taylor faces life in prison when he is sentenced in September.
All right, let me get you some details. It says the Washington, D.C. man has been convicted of first-degree murder and R-word in a case that had gone unsolved for decades. Vicki Lynn Belk was kidnapped and essayed and shot to death. Belk, a 28-year-old mother, worked in D.C. and was a resident of Suitland, but her body was discovered miles away in the Metro Church Road and Route 227 in Charles County. More than 40 years later, DNA evidence finally linked Andre Taylor to her murder. They said our community is a little safer today with this person behind bars. When they announced his arrest last year, Lamont Belk was only 7 when his mum was killed. After a 9-day trial, it took the jury 2 hours. 2 hours, that's a hell of a turnaround. They must have just gone, yeah, we heard all the evidence. We're good to go. Give us the forms. We're unanimous decision. Let's go. They said here, these cold cases are rarely solved. They get solved with dogged determination. Yeah, maybe 20 years ago. I think now they're starting to, well, I mean, the cops do some very hard yards in any cold case investigation. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying that they've got a great new tool that definitely increases their chances of solving cases now, but there's still a lot of legwork that they do behind the scenes. I mean, I can't imagine the hundreds of hours that are in each case file. It must be just days and weeks of police officers' careers that go into it. So I get it. Especially one from 1979. You may even have like 3 different police officers' careers tied to the file. Like they had it all through their career, retired, then the next one picked it up and then retired, and then the next one picked it up and finally got enough to prosecute. That's happened a bunch of times to people. Let's see if this one's different.
A 44-year-old cold case murder finally solved. Today, the Charles County Sheriff's Office announced an arrest in the death of Vicki Lynn Belk.
She was only 28 years old when deputies say she was kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and killed. News 4's Darcy Spencer explains how officials were able to solve this case more than 4 decades after it happened.
These are photos of Vicki Lynn Belk. She was 28 years old, a sister, a daughter, a mother. She was found shot to death in this wooded area in Charles County nearly 44 years ago. And today her family gathered with police to announce an arrest. Lamont Belk was 7 years old when his mom was killed.
Our community is a little bit safer today with this person behind bars.
Police identified this man, Andre Taylor, as a suspect through DNA. He was 18 at the time of the murder. He's 62 years old now. He's being held at the county detention center without bond on murder and rape charges. This brings a sense of relief to her family, including her sister.
Last time that I saw Vicki was at my wedding day. She was my maid of honor.
Taylor's from D.C. and has ties to the Bryans Road community where Belk's body was found in August of 1979. And authorities say he had been charged in connection with 2 murders in D.C. in the 1980s.
We learned Taylor's DNA was in a national database because he was arrested for several violent crimes which occurred in Washington, D.C.
Police say Belk did not know her killer. They say she was kidnapped when she went to her car, which was parked at RFK Stadium, sexually assaulted and killed. Her body was found here in this wooded area off Metropolitan Church Road. A teenager who was riding his bike discovered her body about 20 feet off the roadway. He was able to ride back home and dial 911. That launched this murder investigation.
Thank you, Sheriff Barry.
The family grateful for police who never gave up, even as 4 decades passed.
The Charles County Sheriff's Office maintained a bridge of communication with the Belk family.
Judy Belk says she and her sister were involved in integrating a public school in Alexandria. The family set up a scholarship fund that has supported more than 100 students in Alexandria.
As horrific as Vicki's death was, we've chosen to focus on how she lived.
Darcy Spencer, News 4.
News 4 is working to find out more about the previous murder charges against Taylor and what happened with those cases.
Whoa, what did she say at the end? The guy they arrested has previous murder charges? So maybe he attacked other women too? By the way, I think it's lovely what her family had done, setting up that scholarship so other children can get an education under her name. That is a very sweet thing to do. And like I said, it has helped over 100 children already. I mean, to take a silver lining out of a brutal death and then to go help the next generation of young, I'm guessing young black kids. I'm hoping that's probably what they're doing, but maybe other children too. That is such a great thing, especially because like she worked in, what did she say? Did she say she worked in I don't know what the word is, but was it after segregation and they were trying to integrate schools with whites and blacks back together into one? Is that what she did in the 1970s? That's what a job. Be a very hard job. A lot of hate. A lot of people would have been very mean to her. So his DNA was on file. Oh. Well, I'm glad they solved it, but and that the teenage boy who found her body rode all the way home on his bike because no mobile phone and had to dial 911 or whatever the local police were, get a hold of them and say, hey, I found a woman's body down the road while I was riding my bike. I hope maybe the police recognize his contribution to finding her and being very brave in having to, because he could have pretended like he didn't see anything and rode home and just went, I saw something very freaky today. I'm never going to tell anyone what I saw and I'm not going to report it. I'm just going to go back to doing whatever I was doing. Nope, I don't want to get involved. But he did the right thing, called police, and they were able to find her body quicker because of that young person. I hope they're still around. I hope they're still alive. Yeah, I know, right? She looks very much like her sister. They look very similar. But often we don't talk enough about people of color and their murders or cold cases, and it's often the pretty girls and young girls that get all the attention. And I think to me it doesn't matter. I just want people to go home to their families and just want a resolution. I don't care if you're an octopus. I don't care if you're a giraffe, Asian, purple, a unicorn. Don't care. I just want your case to be solved or your family to have you back. That's all I care about. So, hey, I think it's been a pretty good live show tonight. We've had a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun for the 1000 subscription show. I am definitely going to get onto doing the memberships. I'll be doing that tonight. And I have to film a video. I have to upload all the designs and get it all approved. So it'll take a day or so to get all that done. But hopefully by the time we return on Monday? Tuesday for me, Monday for you. We will be able to have the memberships up and running, I'm pretty sure. So keep an eye out for it. And I think the next time you see me, I'll be doing like a 6-hour shift on the 24-hour live show. So I'll be over there tomorrow. That'll be a great day. I'm doing, like I said, I've got a panel with Insightful One. We're doing the Rex Heuermann investigation. We're going to talk about different aspects of the files and things that we've noticed and some background information that we've dug up. We'll be doing that tomorrow. And then I've got Lisa and her daughter coming on in the evening Australian time, so very early in the morning American time. And then I think Reby, if she's available, will be on with me at some point. I need to go and contact all these people actually and work it out. But we're going to have a fun time, all in the name of Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. And hey, let's all just believe the world is not going to end, because we can go and do it again next year, because it's a lot of fun doing the 24-hour show. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know what time she's going live. Did she say? Did she say what? Oh, hold on. It's here. I'll tell you. Normally she goes at 10 and then goes to 10 the next night, but let's see. Let me go to YouTube. "22 hours, 1:30 p.m." Oh, okay. So she's going to go live at 11:30 Eastern. Yes, she's going to go live at 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm guessing she's probably going to do a couple of hours until she feels tired, and then she's going to hand over to me. Although I might be on a little earlier, because I think me and Insightful One want to do that Rex Heuermann panel while she's awake. So we're going to work it out. It's going to be a great night. And again, thank you to all the people who made this channel what it is today. It's been a bit of a hard slog. I hope it gets a little easier from this part out. We're just shy of like 365 videos, which is one video a day for a year. So I really do appreciate everyone. The only reason we have these type of subscribers is because of you. And yeah, I hope we go more and more into the future, and we find more friends to come here every night and hang out with. Hopefully we get some more people from around the world. It'd be cool to have different viewpoints from like people in Europe or more people from the UK. We have a few. We had a couple people from Sweden, and but yeah, it'd be cool to have some people from different countries. But yeah, I will see you tomorrow night for the show. Let me grab this. There we go. Let me upload this video and then I'll get out of here for you all. Hey, I want to thank again Wendy R. and Kathy Lynch. You guys are very kind to send in donations for tonight. And I want to thank Sean for his donation tonight and yesterday. You think I didn't see it, Sean? I did. I caught you before the end of the show. But thank you, Sean. You're very kind. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow night for the End of the World show. Bye. Peace out. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye.